Well, we've already started talking about it. Let's hit the intro, and then here with my dad, David McNeil, and his longtime friend Jim Pass, also a longtime friend of the Nada Show. Often in the comments, like you said, you've been here many times.
Just couldn't keep up.
Let's hit the intro.
This is not a show. It might not even be a connection. Here's Judah and Guest.
And it's Judah and Guest, and I have two guests with me today. Jim Pass, who I've already said he's been an avid commenter and on discussions I've had with Josh and other people. Every time I come on, he tends to Scott. That's right, yeah. So I've got to know him that way. Now I get to see him in person. Now, you two have been friends for how many years?
54 or 5 years.
Well, speak up because I don't know.
About 55 years.
1964. No, 1960. Yeah,
1964.
Yeah.
What does that make?
That's 57. Okay.
36 plus 21. 57 years.
That's what I just said. I'm the numbers guy.
57 years.
57 years.
Yeah.
And so you guys have kept up your friendship the whole time.
Kind of.
on and off. We stayed in touch long distance a couple of times. But
Yeah.
yes, we have.
Yeah, that's cool. And so now, Jim, you're visiting from Gastonia, right?
That's correct.
And the one thing you guys have been able to connect with is on cars. Interestingly enough,
yeah.
I never thought of you as a car guy, Dad, but lately you've become
I'm a car guy because I drive a car.
Yeah, that's
I guess
And
we're
I've driven a car pretty much all of those 57 years. So we could say those 57 years of friendship are like our cars. But I mean, we just, cars, you have, suddenly when you talk about cars, you have things in common.
yes.
And people understand what you mean. When I've got an old car, a new car, a broke down car, whatever. Jim was telling me about when he first called me up, he says, he was making a joke, I'm calling about your car warranty. I said, well, you'll have to stand in line. I get a lot of calls. So tell him about somebody called him about it.
Oh, I get calls all the time for the car warranties, and the other, I have fun with them. Guy calls up, oh, your car warranty is expired. This is your last chance to get it renewed. I said, that's great. I said, what do I have to do?
Yay.
He says, what kind of car do you have? I said, it's a 1993 Mazda 929, white, great car. Silence on the other end. Is that the only car you have? Oh, yeah. It gets me from point A to point B. Really good car. Had it for all these years. Well, thank you. We don't have programs for cars that old. Have a nice day. I said goodbye. So they hang up on me.
See?
Either that or they call up and I say, Toyota customer service. Who is this? Toyota customer service. How may I help you? Click. I love to play with them.
yeah.
Jim was famous because he wasn't the first one to have a car among us in college.
Correct.
I think Bob Rose was. He had an old Chevy. I think it was a Chevy.
He had an old box of Plymouth.
Plymouth.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
square
Okay.
Plymouth.
Yeah, he got one because I think he was an invalid. He was lame and could.
Correct.
Needed a car.
That's correct. Correct.
No, he worked at the food service or something. And I had to have a car to go for taters or something. I don't know what it was about. But you remember. But Jim shows up as a junior with
67
nice
Camaro.
car.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And so we would rather drive a ride in that car.
Big 327 cubic inch V8, and it would haul.
Man,
It would run.
But Jim never
I didn't-
drove fast.
No, I didn't.
No, he's one of those people that drives very slow
Yes.
and goes around the parking lot
Yeah.
several times until he can save time by parking close to the restaurant. And he gets-
That's your
and he
dad's
gets-
joke on me today. I didn't want him to walk.
It's
too far,
true, is it
okay?
not? It's
It's
true.
true.
It's true.
Get as close
That's
as you
true.
can.
That's true.
But you see, the thing was, I had a roommate, a fella from near Akron, Ohio, the son of associate minister of Rex Humbard's church at Cathedral Tomorrow, and he had asthma, so couldn't do a lot of things that we did. But he had an Austin Healey 3000, bright red,
Mm.
and we used to drive side by side, up the street very
Okay.
slowly
Mhm.
between this corner and the next to see who would get there the first. We had angels on our shoulders, I'm telling you.
What's the fastest you've ever gone in a car?
Oh gosh, 135.
Gee
Really?
whiz.
Yeah, and
Not with me in it.
no, 130 or 135. I think it was 130. And that was with my dad and the Chevrolet dealer. And we got out east of town on
Let's
Highway
take it for a little ride.
Highway 50. The 63 split window Corvette.
Oh, Corvette.
Wow.
Man, I just booked. I just ran it through the gears. The first thing you know, I was over 100 miles, and I was still getting it. And Dad finally said, "Okay, it's time to slow down and turn around." Well, needless to say, I didn't get a Corvette that year.
Oh man.
I thought you were going to tell me,
No.
yeah, it's a deal.
Oh,
It's a deal.
yeah, it was about 120, 130,
Now, I
128,
thought-
something like that.
I remember you having a yellow Malibu. Was that your mom's?
That was my mom's car before I got the Camaro. We had to order the Camaro. That was back during the days when you would order up a car with what you wanted in it,
Right.
engine, interior, color, the whole 9 yards. And Dad had bought Mom the 64, first year they came out, Chevrolet Chevelle. It was canary yellow with a
beautiful.
black leather interior, super sport. Oh, beautiful car.
Super sport.
Beautiful car.
Mm.
I have-
Chickmobile. I needed every advantage I could get. Okay. Yeah, I had
Okay.
that
Oh,
had that
that
for a
would-
while.
We
till my
would
car
go
came
out and we'd go to Big Boy and get our Shoney's and get a Big Boy.
Yeah.
Shoney's.
Yeah.
We go to Shoney's. Shoney's is like Big Boy. Has a big, it's like a little kid.
Hamburger joint.
You know, has
Yeah.
a big picture of big
Big
man
rosy
and-
cheeks.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
hamburger. And I always remember Jim would take us there. Man, we just have enough. And then Jim would take the bill and
like-
go over it assiduously. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, I always do this. What is this? 11 cents. He'd always find 11, 12 cents difference. Hey, what? It was great. I was amazed.
Yeah.
It was good.
I was living on $5 a week. I had to find that 11 cents. Okay.
What is it? What is it like experiencing just kind of those idiosyncrasies in each other so long? Is there a lot that's just remained the same in your relationship, or has it changed
No,
drastically?
I'm
or-
actually more sane than I used to be.
okay.
Just
Really,
ask me.
I think we're a lot the same.
Yeah.
I think really I'm a lot nicer.
Thank
I
you.
really think I am. I was not a nice person.
Would you agree?
Yes, he's a nicer person than he used to be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hate to think what it was like, but I know I was not as
I'm
nice
going to
as-
agree because he's just a little bit bigger than I am.
But Jim was always a nice person and a very methodical, unlike me, very methodical, practical guy. Still is just a guy you want to have around and say, do this. Okay, got a problem? Do this first.
Yeah.
Do this second. Try A, try B. It was and so we.
Ask,
We got
ask him
along.
if I went through the check at lunchtime
You did.
today. I did.
He went through the check.
Just like at
Just like
It's
always. He
Shoney's.
said,
Oh, yeah,
nothing's changed.
that's right. And the waitress was very nice. And I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?" No. Now, see, I just want to say, he had a super sport.
Mm.
I have a super.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It makes me a car guy.
me.
I have a super sport. I don't even know what that means, but I have a Chevy,
Yeah.
which has the SS, right?
Yeah.
I have an El Camino.
Yes.
An El Camino. Oh, yeah, right there. I have an El Camino because my son, in a fit of love for his dad, unexplainable, bought one and lent it to me kind of indefinitely. Okay. So I have an El Camino. It's an 89 black and blue two-tone.
Two-tone.
We call it the Sapphire because it looks like that. Beautiful car. It's the only car I've ever had. That's why I call myself a car guy. It's the only car I've ever had that got positive comments.
Yeah.
Positive comments. Jim always had sharp cars. Always had sharp. He's got a sharp car now.
Mm.
And so I was telling him, I used to get comments. I used to get, I can't tell the long story, but I was off. I was in Oklahoma working for the Pawnee tribe, and it was in February. A lot of snow on the ground, and getting down to the tribal office, I went off into a ditch, banged the car, busted the hood. That's all. But it popped it, and so the guy couldn't fix it, and so he wired it together. Well, a week later, I'm on my way back to Albuquerque, creeping on snowy streets, roads, and I get to Amarillo, and for some reason the roads just open up. They're all clean and everything. I say, well, okay. So I've been crawling on snow. So I had to take that old car. This was a 71, my favorite car, 71 Chevelle station wagon, 405, exactly the same size engine that I have in that El Camino. 405, light, book, man, that thing would take off. So I just took it right on. I was on I-40, headed for Albuquerque. I'm going home, man. Well, that thing had been bouncing, and that wire had been, and I saw this truck in front of me. I said, he's going about 75. I said, man, I'm going to pass that guy. And so I get up to about 85 going on that guy, and finally the wire gives way, and the hood just crumples up, just like this, like a full birthday car. Boom! Just like that right there. And I'm going, yeah. And the truck goes past. I take it to the side. I got nothing. I had a little hammer. A little tiny hammer. Broke it. So I finally got on top of the hood and walked on it enough to flatten it out. And I had a coat hanger in the car and was able to hang it. But now it's a piece of mangled metal and sticking off the
McNeil fix.
Is sticking off the end of the front of my car. This car. Now, here I was telling you. Remember, I did get comments on my car. So the next place I had to fill up. Well, there's one of these gas stations that was they served. You didn't serve full service. The guys got full service came down and said, fill it up and don't say anything about the hood.
You can't check the oil. I'm sorry.
So I loved that. When I got to Albuquerque, threw it off, went around for a while without a hood, and then I got a blue hood. Car was kind of a gold color with a blue
fashion
hood.
statement.
Some rust colorations.
So I used to get comments on that too, like, it's a blue hood. Oh, you want to hear my story about it? So we've had our.
You had this
good
little
cars.
as I remember, you had this little English Ford, right?
When I was in college, Dad, ended up Dad. Dad, I'm sorry, but Dad ended up buying it. I was supposed to buy it, but I didn't have enough money. Thought I could earn enough money. Dad bought me Dad had a part of a dealership here, and he bought me a Austin.
Okay.
Not Austin Healey, an Austin. But it looked like a little Ford.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a square little Ford. It's green.
Yeah.
Great. The problem with it was it really didn't know how to start when things were cold. And this was Chicago. And I can remember being like, I mean, nowadays you don't get that. But in those days, it was not unusual to have cars that wouldn't start when they were cold.
But the noteworthy thing was that even after it was started, it really never got warm
inside. And no heat.
So you see 4 guys riding around this little green Carmel.
Because you guys went to Wheaton together,
Yeah,
right?
we
That's
did.
where you
Yes,
guys
we
met.
did.
That's where we met. Met him on the way. We were going. We both went to band camp.
Yep.
Both of us had the same experience at band camp.
Yep.
Jim was a trombonist. Top of his class was the first chair trombonist.
First chair.
I was a cornetist, first chair cornetist.
Yep.
We went to band camp. Both of us ended up last chair.
Last chair in the section.
The section.
I don't know. They looked at us and must have figured something out. I don't know what it was.
When they asked me to play the Flight of the Bumblebee, I must have muffed. But Jim, what was that? They gave you an opportunity. They wanted you to learn the harp or something? What was it?
No. I
Like-
refused. I refused to jump instruments. They wanted me to do some different stuff, and I said no. I
Yeah, they-
played trombone. No. not
Yeah, they asked
anything
me if I wanted to learn French horn,
else. Okay.
and that would have been nice. But I was into banjo by that time. I was like,
Mm.
I ain't got time for French horn. I always had the little.
Those are the
That's
That's
it.
a song,
That's it.
man.
Hunting.
Well, and then what
Yeah,
you guys ended up being
We-
is in the band Omega, right? With
we were
right, but
Bob
there
Rose.
was a 2-year gap there. They had another fellow, Greg Nielsen, that was with them, and they were doing stuff before I caught up with them.
really,
But
so
then
you
he
weren't in the
transferred
original.
out, right?
Yeah, he
Greg
did. He
transferred out
he
after
wasn't in
sophomore
college
year.
anymore.
What did you play in the band?
Havoc. I picked up a bass and learned how to play bass.
Really?
Played bass and sang
self-taught.
tenor,
Sang tenor.
Mm.
and that was like he spent his first 2 years.
Here we go. Here we go.
They, as I understand it, they thought he presented himself as a math whiz, and he must have been good at high school. But they signed him up for advanced calculus or something,
First semester.
and he did not do well.
No.
5 hours, wasn't
5-hour course, 8 o'clock every day, 8 o'clock in the morning.
it? Advanced calculus.
Sophomore
I mean, I
course.
can't even imagine. I would have probably killed myself, but he
I should have.
through it.
You know,
So, but you were a math guy though, right?
I still am.
You still are.
Yeah.
So, but
Show him some
advanced
math.
I didn't
calculus.
I post math on Facebook all the time. You know, this plus times this plus times this. Fill in the answer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like
They're
a
all
meme
dumb.
Oh,
math
like a little
meme.
meme.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I was National Honor Society, science, math, coming out of high school and all that stuff. And they dumped me in this sophomore class, and I wasn't on sound footing from the get
And
go.
so he had
And
to
I'd never
claw
heard of
his-
drop ad. Okay.
Mm.
I didn't like a drop out of that course. It was, you know, in my house, if it got tough, you'd stiff upper lip. You could get through this.
And that's one of the things we discovered yesterday when we were talking, and we brought it up at prayer meeting. We did not get the mentoring,
No.
the guidance that we needed. I didn't know what drop A was either, and I had some courses that were. I thought, what am I doing in here? And his was a.
That's what I said for
more
3 years,
difficult.
Mac. What are we doing in this class?
So for the first 2 years, he was, as he said, clawing his way
I was
back.
trying to dig my way out of the hole that I had dug for myself. Really.
And so when he got up on, it made up on a level, and he.
Mm.
Oh no!
And
Right?
you did though.
No, you
right?
got into the.
Yeah.
You got in. You came. We became buddies again when you were taking what basket weaving and
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Art was a basket weaving course. You know, 2 semesters get my grades up.
That's
That-
good.
I don't,
He's good at it.
I don't think that lady appreciated my artwork, but it was cartoonish, but it was clever.
Mm. I can imagine, but that's. I don't think that's abnormal. When I went in, I thought I wanted to be a business major.
Okay.
I went in and I started taking business
Yeah,
classes.
you did.
Yeah, but
But I say I wasn't.
I
going to
went
tell you.
and
Are you kidding?
I went and found somebody and said, I don't want
know
to
what I'm
do this.
doing.
This is boring to me. Because
Yeah.
you gave me the best advice. You said, find the teacher that you like the most and follow them to
Right.
a degree.
That was
Right.
advice that was given me in grad school by Steve Harris, who just died last year. My pastor. I thought that was a good idea, so I passed it on to you.
It was.
Yeah, and we had some good teachers. Some
Yes,
of them
we
we cannot
had some.
remember, but
We had some good,
Mm.
well-intending.
Well, have you guys ever thought of maybe seeking out, like going to a local college and just seeing if anybody needs help? Well, I guess it'd be hard, right? Because just
it's not a bad idea. I mean, of course, yes, I was actually getting paid for giving
No, yeah, that's right. You were.
at
Yeah.
the local community college till they upped their requirements, and
Yeah.
you had to be, I guess, good looking or whatever, young. I don't know. But anyway, I think that that's not a bad idea. They have these for business.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? Snap or something?
Yeah.
Or if you start a business, folks, start a business. They've got and just
People
go
who
to
can help you.
yeah, they've got an organization. I can't think of the name of it, but if you go to your Employment Security Commission,
Mhm.
they'll tell you, and for free, they got older guys that will tell you, they've
Yeah.
been in it. They'll say how to put your business together and so on. And these days you need that because it's a jungle out there putting up with all the requirements,
Regulatory stuff.
Regulatory stuff.
I can tell you that my experience in college, and I talked with this at length with your dad the other night, was not that great because of my struggle with academics. But I got out of there and then spent some time in service. And then after service, a couple of years working as a short order cook before I went back to graduate school. So by the time I went back to graduate school, I was about 34 years old. And I killed graduate school, 2 years worth. Okay.
After some life experience.
Yes.
Knowing what you wanted.
I was there because I wanted to be there, not because I had to be there. And then the first job I got was as an audiovisual director at a junior college down in Southern Indiana and golf coach. Okay. And I used to tell young men, much like you were just relating, find something that you like to do that when you're doing it, you lose track of time. And then find an avocation that falls in line with something you like, and you'll never be paid. You won't think about being paid for doing something you love doing. It's an automatic, but that's not easy. But you have to look to do it.
You know, I'm amazed. I suppose Jim picked up a lot in graduate school, but his ease, you hear his ease with the language, and it's easy to listen to. And he had a long career as a trainer at different levels in the Army and also in his business, in the business field. You know, so he picked a lot. So somewhere along the line, I think his work in Wheaton, he probably picked up a lot more than he thought, struggling through writing papers and stuff like that. But somewhere along the line, he picked it up. And he's good at that. I think it would be nice. I hope that he could still at this time find. I mean, he seems to be easy to understand. I think. Don't you think? Easy to understand.
yeah.
Well,
Eloquent.
with
Eloquent.
you know, with your dad, I draw a lot of pictures. Okay, he gets it.
Yeah.
Was he always this funny?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a smart
I think
aleck.
he was.
I was a smart aleck funny in
He
school.
was
You know, it got
funny.
me in a lot of
He
trouble.
was funny.
I really was.
He was funny. He was friendly. I always remember about Jim was that he just never gave me trouble. He never complained about anything, and he had stuff to complain about. Never complain, never called me names, never talked behind my back.
I made fun of your green car. Though. I thought that was
You did do
the
that.
only point.
Very kind person.
Yeah.
I like that. I needed that because a lot of people couldn't put up with the kind of person I was at the time.
But that's what friendships are. You accept somebody for what he is, not what you want him to be.
That's right.
Okay. So
That's good. Yeah. And since then, you guys have kept up through just correspondence and stuff like that. And
well, long story short, you know, going back a ways, I was stationed at Aberdeen Proving Grounds for a couple of years before I went overseas in 1971. And I got this call one day, Jimmy, I'm up at Fort Dix. How about picking me up? And he had just gotten back from Vietnam, and I drove up there in my Camaro, and we zoomed back down the highway and kept him at the house a couple of days before, you know, got his feet back on the ground. I tell the funny story about him. I don't know if he remembers this or not, but we got back to the apartment. He put all his clothes in a bag, stuffed it somewhere. I don't remember what he did with them, but stood in the shower for an hour, singing, soaping. I heard this. I don't know what he would sing. I don't remember that. But just soaping and singing and soaping. Got out of there, looked like a brand new scrub baby. Came out, you know, refreshed, dressed in clean clothes, sat down in the kitchen, ate a gallon of ice cream.
Half gallon.
Oh, I thought it was a gallon. Half a gallon? Okay. Yeah, he was back in the world, was back in life. And then, you know, he proceeded on with where he had to be after that. And I ended up going overseas for a year. We got back. We were in touch a couple of times after I got out of service and doing other things. He was on his way through North Carolina on the way to the Union Road Fillers Convention or something and stopped by to see us one time. Various places.
We kept up, but I don't think we kept a constant,
not constant,
a constant, you know, communication. But we knew where we were, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
kept up. And I think what really helped was you.
Hmm.
You know, you'd say, your buddy said something, you know, I'd say,
Mhm.
buddy, what are you talking about? Jim Pass. Jim Pass?
What intelligent thing did he have to say?
What happened? I mean, how did he get up with you? You
Yeah,
know,
Dad was
see,
always.
I
Like,
don't know the whole thing.
it was
about
like
this,
two
you know.
worlds kind of colliding for you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
right.
Jim Pass is talking to
To
Judah.
you. You know, how it went. So, and then I found out he was responding to blogs and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't realize you had such an intelligent son.
Thank you.
Where is he?
Well, what's,
No, he's a great guy.
what's interesting is that you were commenting on mostly on a conversation that I had restarted with my old friend Josh, who I knew
Yeah.
from freshman year in my
Yeah.
college for me. So there was it was
Right.
interesting that
Right.
your college friend, was commenting on it, and we became friends. I
Right.
think through that, or got to know each other, and are now friends. And it
Good.
yeah. So it's just interesting.
I think it is interesting and profitable for all of us.
Well, I mainly just wanted to just pick your guys' brain a little bit and kind of get your interactions. I just think it's so fun to talk to you guys and get your perspective.
Well, we're way up there looking down on all you youngsters. So all you whippersnappers down there,
The trail
Listen
behind us
up.
is deep.
Well, thank you guys for coming on
You're welcome.
and doing this, and just love you guys and continue. And Dad, you should tune in every now and then, I guess. And then, what's interesting is you used to be a big fan of the old videos I used to when they were short. These longer ones are the kind of if you don't get them when they're live, they're not as interesting. Would you say?
well,
It's
I can
too
try.
long.
I mean, well, I think it does help to watch something once or twice so you get to know the people
Yeah.
and what they're talking about and what's funny and what's
Mhm.
where's the insights come from.
Characters of
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Just people
why don't
talking.
you try things, new things? There's
Mhm.
no reason to stick with just the stuff you already know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
sorry.
No. Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Well, on that, we're gonna end the broadcast, and thank you everybody for showing up. We've got a lot
Yeah.
of people: Brianna and Jay and Jim and Scott. Scott tuned
All right,
in.
Scott.
And let's see, one person, Brianna, said Mr. McNeil
Yeah.
is my favorite.
Ooh. Favorite what? Bald guy?